Brian. Hi, Brian. Thanks for being here today. Could you just say a little bit about the setting where we're sitting right now?
Okay, well, right now we're sitting at Lanner Gorge. It's a gorge in the northern part of the Kruger National Park, in the Makuleki Contract Park. We're basically sitting where a 2 million year old river is cut down into about 250 million years of sediment through this amazing gorge.
Yeah, this is a pretty nice place to come for the last day of our trip, so thank you for bringing us here.
Absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure.
And so I just want to ask you, first, if you could just talk briefly about what it means to be a wilderness trails guide and how you came to be one.
Well, having gone through the ranks of doing a lot of driving and being a guide in other realms, observing sort of got to a point where it wasn't quite enough, and I thoroughly enjoyed the aspect when you start doing wilderness trails that you move from being that observer, the casual observer, to being part of the piece. You're kind of a role player. It takes a different type of guiding to unlock the wilderness, and it's also about the finer details, which sometimes we tend to gloss over in the vehicles. Being a wilderness guide in an area like this is just a privilege. There's so much to see, so much to do. In fact, the 3 days that we've spent together, we probably haven't actually scratched the surface of what this area potentially can actually offer.
And how long have you been doing wilderness guides?
I've been doing wilderness work in terms of trailing for the last 4.5 years, and up in this area only for the last 5 months, but it's been a very, very special 5 months.
Yeah, and how did you come to work specifically at the Pafuri camp?
Well, having been a guest here about 5 years ago, I loved it. And reading books as a child, the game rangers often mentioned Lanner Gorge and Crook's Corner and all these focal points in this area. And so I was always thoroughly captivated by it. But also, having done sort of nearly 10 years of guiding in the central part of the Kruger, I was looking for a challenge. And from a biodiversity, from a region area, after 10 years I feel like I'm a student starting to learn again up here, and that's really what drew me to the area, was just the potential to guide in such a lost real wilderness area in South Africa.
And what sets this part of the Kruger Park what sets it apart from other parts of the park?
Well, if you think that it's only 1% of the surface area and yet it holds 75% of the biodiversity, it just, in such a small area, you can move 200 meters one way and 200 meters another way and be in totally different worlds, never mind vegetation types and whatever. It's an incredibly diverse spot. I've always believed in a sort of a textured and a layered safari experience for guests, and this area offers such an amazing thing, from paleoarchaeology to botany to amazing birding to incredible walking where you're seeing a lot of game on foot. So yeah, that's what makes the Pafuri very special to me. Another thing is that it's an area that has got a lot of history in it, where people weren't separated from it. It's all intrinsic. It's all part of what makes the Pafuri so real, is that you're walking around seeing the Tulamela sites, seeing Stone Age implements, seeing pot shards all over the show.
Thank you. And so for me, one of the most thrilling parts of this trip was the encounter we had yesterday with the bull elephant and musth. And I wonder if you could sort of just walk through that encounter and what happened and how you dealt with it.
We started our morning walk at our normal time. It was nice and cold, and so we started with a relatively brisk pace, but we relaxed. We started chatting about the vegetation, and I certainly took my eye off the ball ever so slightly when we walked up that path and met big elephant bull and full musth coming straight down towards us. He was initially aware of us in terms of he scented us, but then he continued on his path, so I had to let him know we were there. So we whistled, and with that then he started his displaying. At no point was he overtly aggressive, but he certainly knew we were around. He displayed beautifully. He really went through all the motions. One of the things that is very intimidating, and it's designed that way, is he got his ears out, his posture changed, he lifted himself, he made himself look very big and imposing. And very often people think it's a sign of aggression, but it's actually a sign of he wasn't feeling confident. He was actually quite insecure in the situation, and therefore, fortunately, he backed up enough that we moved out. Then he decided he wanted to investigate a little bit more and came and checked us out while we were standing on that ridge. But eventually, all's well that ends well, and he pushed off, and we had a great elephant encounter.
It was indeed. It was one of the highlights for me. And just my last question is, on this particular trip, what has been the best part for you? I mean, I know you do these trips all the time, but like this particular trip, what did you find to be the most rewarding part?
I thoroughly enjoyed the elephants bathing in the river our first afternoon. The interaction with the waterbuck, not the fact that there were lions hunting them at the same time, but when the waterbuck came through that little channel and sort of looked at us, that was also a highlight. And I suppose, the elephant encounter, that was also a highlight. Anytime that I am an elephant person. I love elephants, I love encounters with elephants, but when you are able to have an encounter, read the situation, and diffuse that situation, it's always a good day.
Great. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.